The Kybalion, a conversation by Julie Benetti and Susan Barbaro, is a production of EI Publishing in association with EI Alliance, copyright 2018. Visit eipublishing.com for more. Music for this series is courtesy of New Threads, copyright 2018, from their self-titled album, available now. Hi, this is Julie Benetti.
Hi, this is Susan Barbaro. I'd like to wish everyone a happy 420.
Yeah, we're not going to go any further about what that means. Anyway, we're here. We thought it would be fun to talk about the book, The Kybalion. And for anyone who doesn't know, The Kybalion is written by 3 initiates. And it's about energy, and we always talk about energy. And we are very interested in talking about this, and we figured, what the heck, why not record it as well?
And this is basically about the study of Hermes Trismegistus.
Trismegistus.
Yeah,
Hermes
whatever.
Trismegistus. Legendary, a legendary sage. We could read the back of the book to you because you're not holding it and you're listening. Basically, it's the teachings of the legendary sage Hermes Trismegistus. And they break it into 7 principles. And he was said to be an ancient Egyptian man god who fathered astrology, alchemy, and other magical arts. Go ahead. He's fascinated readers of occult literature for centuries, magicians and Gnostics, and they identify him as the author of many esoteric teachings, building on the mystery of his lineage. So there's a lot of mystery and myth to that, yet it's about energy. And it's very interesting, and I was first introduced to it during a class in Salem, Massachusetts. Of course, Salem has its own history of energy and magic and some other things as well, personalities. But anyway, this book has always interested me because every time I pick it up, there's something different in it that I consume and enjoy.
Well, this one particular book, it was not written by Hermes
Trismegistus. Hermes Trismegistus.
So it wasn't written by him, but it was written by what the person called himself or herself is the 3 initiates. God, I can't read. So, and it was written in 1908, and I was introduced to this book, I don't know, maybe about 6 months ago.
I gave it to you 4 years ago, and I said, you haven't read that yet?
So I've started to make my way through it, and of course I take it and I have my own little
thoughts of different sections.
Yeah, and I have my own questions because, I like to go in and beat everything up. So.
And the cool thing about it is about energy, yet you can get it on, any platform in any bookstore, but you can also find it free because it's online and people have probably posted the PDF.
And also, for those of you who are wondering, because of course I love Greek mythology, I love mythology of any kind, but Hermes was actually considered, when they named the Greek god Hermes, they believed it was named after this man, what did you call it, an Egyptian man god who fathered the astrology, alchemy, and other magical arts. So there is actually a Greek, if you hear Hermes and you think, hey, I remember that as the messenger god from my mythology. Well, yes, it is the same one and the same.
And as Susan said, this book first appeared in 1908, and the kind of cool thing is around that time period, also up until the 1950s, another book we absorbed was The Master Key System by Charles Hennell. And you can talk about, what's the other, Think and Grow Rich. You can talk about all those kind of books, and there's a lot of books about energy and how to change your thoughts, and there's a lot of material that came out in the 1950s.
So the fascinating part about this, because if it was us just sitting here and talking about the book, I would be sleeping somewhere in the back. Yet the reason that I'm interested in doing this is because as Julie and I read through all of these, there's something missing in all of them. There's something that's not being said. And that's actually why I am interested in doing this, because there is something that goes between the lines in all of these. And I keep racking my brain saying, what the heck is it? There's something else that's trying to be said. And we're not going to tell you that, oh, we have the answer, but we are going to go into it. And maybe you guys, whoever's, is interested in doing this will respond and help us to move further as we help you to move further, because there is definitely something between the lines. So that's the cool part of what's going to be discussed in these podcasts. We're not going to just talk about what the book says. We're going to talk about that, but then take it one step further.
And how it applies, too, to everyday living as we can try and understand it and hope to understand it. So certainly any feedback would be very helpful as well, because there are 7 Hermetic principles, yet we're not operating here as experts, because how do you define that word?
Experts are historians. They don't think. They tell you what's been. They tell you this is what's been tried. This is what was successful in the past. This is not successful. But they don't think. That doesn't mean they're thinkers. They can sit here and give you, that's why I consider an expert as a historian. They can give you the information of what's occurred in the past, but that doesn't help us to move forward.
And I love that definition, because if you live in the moment of now, then when is the past? Puts a lot of experts out of work.
Well, I'm not going to comment on that.
So on that note, this is just a quick introduction that you can access the book. You can kind of roll along with us. You can find it however you want, or you can just listen to us, because we're going to talk about it, but at whatever level we're at when the energy is with us in that level, that's how we'll be talking about it. So join us. We're going to have these series on the Kybalion, and we hope you enjoy them, because we're going to enjoy them and have a lot of fun, and sometimes that's all that's important.
And we'll be drinking mead maybe later.
That we are conjuring. On that note, we'll talk to you again soon. Remember, it's the Kybalion by 3 initiates, and it will be a very energized conversation.
So the interesting part that the reason why I was interested in doing this with you, Julie, is because a lot of the books that we've read, the Master Keys, Think and Grow Rich, and this book here, they talk a lot about there's information, and the people that find the books are the ones that the information has been written for. And you kind of have to read between the lines. And it said it in many of the books that we've read, and this one does as well. And it's what's not said that's where the power of this is. And I think looking and observing that piece of it is what makes these books fascinating.
I agree, because it always makes me curious and intrigues me how certain books kind of fall in my path, and I'm directed to read them, and then what I get out of it is often something that is between the lines I propel from, and I share that with you. We share it in conversations as well, and what they're saying in this and what they say in many of the books, like you said, is, whoever finds this is supposed to find it, and whoever reads it is going to get what they get out of it.
And so to that, it's a situation of to read between the lines of what's not said. It's really hard to do that on your own. I mean, you certainly can do it. And people, if you take out one of the books and you read it, you can come up with what you believe is being said between the lines. Yet when you talk it over with someone, you go even further, and that's the beauty and the really the gold in these podcasts. And you and I do it all the time,
right?
And then we talk with someone and they're like, oh my gosh, who would have thought? And so that's what we're trying to bring, in doing this, is we're not just going to read you what he said. I mean, you can read the book,
right?
And the book is well written. I'm not trying to say it's not. I'm not trying to change what's in the book. I'm trying to say, they're saying, what are you reading that is not being said? And that's the gold of the book. And if you don't understand that, you miss the gold nugget within the book. And so this is our attempt to try to do that and include as many people in it, because
when you share the conversation, you share the energy of the words and what was written, and actually you start to attain in the space between more energy about what was written and what the not just the premise of it, but what the focus of it, what the goal of it is, and even maybe something further that are some of the thoughts that are outlying around all the words and what was actually transcribed. So I agree, you can go and pick up the book and read the book and enjoy it, yet having a conversation and sitting in on a real-time conversation, because we don't script these, we're just having a conversation about it, is very powerful.
So in doing that, the 7 Hermetic principles is really what the basis of the truth is. And as the Kybalion, and it's a quote, the principles of truth are 7. He who knows these understandingly possesses the magic key before whose touch all the doors of the temple fly open. So there's 7 principles. And I think what we're going to do is there's a principle and a quote that is given, and then we'll talk very briefly about what's in the book, because of course you can read it. This isn't about rereading a book. And then we're going to go from there to discuss it a little bit further.
Right. And that's actually how they do it in the book. They give the 7 principles, they do a quick blurb with a quote, and then they go into it very deeply, and you can access a lot of cool energy there.
So my suggestion to all of you is, listen to at least 1 or 2 of them, then decide if you want to or not. But it's a little bit different. Our conversations are very different, and they access a different ideology. But I guarantee you're going to come out with something different. So that's my suggestion.
And isn't that what it's about?
So thank you, and enjoy the podcast.
Thank you. This has been a production of EI Publishing in association with EI Alliance. Listen to other episodes and visit eipublishing.com for the transcript of this series as an ebook and to find more energized podcasts and books. Find New Threads' self-titled album, New Threads, on iTunes, Spotify, Bandcamp, or at newthreads.us. Thank you for listening.